Hello nurses, welcome to our channel Nursing for All, Striving for Quality Education. I am Vanaja. Today I would like to teach about physiology of thyroid gland. This physiology I made into two parts, part 1 and part 2. In part 1, I am going to explain about formation, storage and release of thyroid hormones, that is synthesis of thyroid hormones. And in part 2, I'll explain about functions and regulation of thyroid hormones. So we'll start. In previous class, already I explained about the structure of thyroid gland. So in that I explained about the histology. So it is a butterfly shaped structure, location, surfaces, everything I explained. So in this histology, so this is the follicular cells. This is the thyroid follicle, and in between the thyroid follicle, the other type of the cells which are present in that space, that is called as parafollicular cell or C cell. So what is the function of this thyroid follicles or follicular cells? Its function is mainly it secretes two important hormones. Those are T3 and T4. So T3 is triiodothyrosin and T4 is tetraiodothyrosin. And coming to the parafollicular cells, these parafollicular cells secretes a hormone that is called as calcitonin. So three types of hormones are secreted by the thyroid gland. Those are T3, T4 and calcitonin. But the important hormones are T3 and T4 which are secreted by the follicular cells. So here you can see around or surrounding this thyroid follicle or follicular cell, these are the blood capillaries. So these blood capillaries supply the blood or it will supply the nutrients to the follicular cells at the same time which will play an important role in the synthesis of thyroid hormones. And in center of the follicular cell, we can see this purple color. This will indicate colloid or this is the lumen of space. Sorry, lumen. Lumen of thyroid follicle. So this is the thyroid follicle. So in this thyroid follicle, so these cells, the epithelial cells which are cuboidal in shape and in center. So if you take the single cell, so this is the thyroid follicle where it it contains three membranes. Those are apical membrane, lateral membrane and basal membrane. So this is apical membrane which is facing towards the lumen of the thyroid follicle. So you can see here. So this is the lumen or colloid which is facing towards the lumen. And this is the lateral membrane which is present at the sides. And the other third one is basal membrane. So this is the basal membrane which is facing towards the interstitial fluid. So coming to our main topic, that is formation, storage and release of thyroid hormones. So in this formation means synthesis of thyroid hormones or production of thyroid hormones by thyroid gland and storage. So thyroid gland is an important endocrine gland which can store its produced hormones in the colloid. Next, release. So whenever our body requires, the stored hormones will be get released into the bloodstream. So that is release. So these three steps will be occur or these three processes will be occur in 8 steps. So first one is iodide trapping, synthesis of thyroglobulin, oxidation of iodide, iodination of tyrosine, coupling of T1 and T2, pinocytosis and digestion of colloid, secretion of thyroid hormones, and the last one is transportation of thyroid hormones in the blood. So we'll see stepwise. So first step is iodide trapping. So what is trapping? So if we are picking up anything, that is called as trapping. So here what will happen whenever we take the dye? So this iodine is an important, this is one of the main building blocks of the hormones. So our body cannot produce this trace element. So we need to get enough of it in our diet. So whenever we are taking so that's why everyone will mention that we have to take iodized salt. So if there is any deficiency of iodine, it leads to the goiter or any disorders of the thyroid gland. So in the diet, iodide will be present. So from the small intestine, when it is circulating in the blood, these thyroid follicles will be trap the iodide. So when it is trapping, first it will enter into the interstitial fluid. Will enter into the interstitial fluid from the blood capillaries and through the active transportation where it will be enter into the thyroid follicle. So here you can see, so this is negatively charged. So these are the iodide which are negatively charged. So while iodide trapping only, there will be the synthesis of thyroglobulin will be occur. So this thyroglobulin will be produced in the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, so which will be produce thyroglobulin. So this thyroglobulin is a glycoprotein. So it is a chain-like structure which contains amino acids. So these thyroglobulin, which will be packed into the vesicles and it will be send it to the next structure, that is Golgi complex. The next sky blue color. So once it is reaching the Golgi complex, this thyroglobulin will be get modified by the Golgi complex. Again, it will be packed into the vesicles. So these packed vesicles, which will be reach the apical membrane, and where there will be the exocytosis will be occur. So here the cell rupture will be occur and this thyroglobulin will be come out of the cell into the colloid or lumen of the thyroid follicle. So this is about the synthesis of thyroglobulin. So coming to the third step, oxidation of iodide. So what is oxidation? Here the iodide, the negatively charged iodide, where it will be converting into the iodine in the presence of an enzyme, that is thyroperoxidase. So the thyroperoxidase is an enzyme which will be help for the converting of iodide into iodine. So that is called as oxidation of iodide. So this is the third step. Next, fourth one is iodination of tyrosine. So we were discussing about the thyroglobulin. So you can see here, so I said it is like a chain-like structure. You can see this thread-like structure. This is called as thyroglobulin. So this thyroglobulin contains amino acids. Among those amino acids, the important amino acid is tyrosine. So tyrosine, so iodination of tyrosine means where these iodine atoms will be come and bind to the tyrosine. So after oxidation of iodide, this iodine will be come and bind to the tyrosine. So that is called as iodination of tyrosine. So if one iodine atom is coming and binding, then that is called as monoiodotyrosine. You can see in this image, so this is the monoiodotyrosine. So one iodine atom is coming and attaching. So this is monoiodotyrosine. So if second iodination occurs, means two iodine atoms are attaching. So that is called as diiodotyrosine. Di means two. So if two iodine atoms are attached, that is called as diiodotyrosine. this is about the fourth step. Next, coming to the fifth step, that is coupling of T1 and T2. In this coupling, where this T1 and T2. So in fourth step, we found that there will be the T1 and T2, means iodination of tyrosine in that if one iodine atom is joining or attaching to the tyrosine, that is T1. T1 is formed. And if two are attaching, that is diiodotyrosine. So here in coupling, so T1 and T2 will be bind with one another and it will form T3 and T4. If T1 is binding to T2, that will form T3. So you can see here, this is T3, and if T2 is binding with T2, that will form T4. So T3 is triiodotyrosine and T4 is tetraiodotyrosine. So this is the fifth step. And next, sixth step is pinocytosis and digestion of colloid. So pinocytosis, so where these droplets of colloid will be re-enter into the follicle. So here already thyroid hormones are produced and it will be get stored in the colloid. So whenever our body requires thyroid hormones, then it will be get stimulated by the pituitary gland, then it will be released the hormones. So again these hormones, synthesized or produced hormones, will be re-enter into the thyroid follicles. So through the pinocytosis, means endocytosis will be occur, where it will be re-enter into the thyroid follicles and it will be attached with the lysosome. This is called as endolysosome. So the digestive enzymes which are present in the lysosome, which will be engulf these thyroglobulin and which will be separate T3 and T4. You can see here T3 and T4. So there will be the secretion of thyroid hormones. So fourth step is secretion of thyroid hormones. And the last step is transportation of thyroid hormones in the blood. So when the body requires these thyroid hormones, so it has to reach different places. So how it will be reached? Through the blood supply. So it has to enter into the bloodstream. So through the basal membrane, it will be enter into the bloodstream. But for this transportation, it will be attached to an enzyme. Sorry, it will be attached to the protein. That is thyroxine binding globulin. That is a protein, that is thyroxine binding globulin. So this is about the formation, storage and release of thyroid hormones. So in this formation, storage and release, we discussed about the 8 steps. First one, there will be the iodide trapping by the thyroid follicle, and while trapping this, there will be the synthesis of thyroglobulin. So thyroglobulin is a glycoprotein which will be produced by the rough endoplasmic reticulum and it will be get modified with the help of or by the Golgi complex and will be formed or packed into the vesicles. These vesicles will be undergo exocytosis and thyroglobulin will become out of the cell. And third step, oxidation of iodide. This iodide will be converted into the iodine and iodination of tyrosine. Fourth step. So in this, the oxidized iodine will be attached to the tyrosine. So if one iodine atom is attached, that is called as monoiodotyrosine. If two atoms are attaching, that is called as diiodotyrosine. So this fifth step is coupling of T1 and T2. Here T1 and T2 will be combined with each other. So if two iodotyrosine is joining, then it will form T4, that is tetraiodotyrosine. If T2 is attaching with the T1 or T1 is attaching with the T2, it will form T3, that is triiodotyrosine. So it will be get stored in the colloid. So whenever our body requires, then these droplets of the colloid will be re-enter into the thyroid follicle through the process that is endocyst. So endocyst where it will be enter into the cell. So after entering where it will be attached or fuse with the lysosome. After fusing, the digestive enzymes of the lysosome which will be engulf or which will be clear this thyroglobulin and it will be separate T3 and T4. Once this once there is secretion of thyroid hormones, it will be get carried by the protein. So when you're answering, this is very, very important. Uh, Many times they ask in final exam this question for essay. So when you're answering for this question diagram, so you have to explain with the diagram and you should write point wise. So when you're writing point wise in physiology, when there is continuation from first point to second point or with one point to other point, if you write this flow chart, then it will be useful and it will be clear also. So I hope you all understood about synthesis of thyroid hormones. So in this synthesis, 99% of maximum amount of thyroid hormone is produced thyroid hormone is T4, but T3 is more active or potent compared with the T4. So if you want me to explain any other topics, you can mention in the comment box. Thank you.